Finance Minister stepping up to the podium in the National Assembly, 2 o'clock, about 53 minutes from now, to deliver that all-important speech. Back now to Cape Town, ETV News anchor Annika Larsen joins us live now with an overview of the important issues that she thinks needs to be tackled in this year's budget. Annika, good afternoon to you. The Minister is going to have to pull out a very large rabbit from a very battered hat.
I just don't think he's going to be able to do it, Jeremy. The fiscus is so stretched. Unemployment, as we heard from Stats SA last night, the worst it's been in 13 years, at 32.5%. It's a dire situation, and more people are going to be asking for welfare grants. And there's the vaccine rollout program. And as Devon was saying, our lending is just out of control. Our sovereign debt rate, and we cannot afford to be lending any more money. And the absolute pessimist would be saying the only really route is to go to the IMF, which the ANC as a political party we know would never want to do. But I am joined now by Nokolo, ANC MP Ntantisi, Abrams Ntantisi, who sits on the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, the three main areas of government spending are the civil servant's wage, their social welfare grants, and then servicing our debt. Where is the room to manoeuvre, Honourable MP, for our Finance Minister?
Yes, we think that it's a very challenging moment for him as Minister of Finance, because not only that, but the challenges that we've had have been exacerbated by COVID-19. And we think that what has happened within the tax revenue framework will assist us to a certain extent, and would like him to tell the nation what government will do with that fiscal space. It may be a very small space, but it's a space that can be used to advantage the people of the country. Because for us, as the study group of the ANC, faced by the pandemic, the minister should follow in the footsteps of the state president and talk about the aggressive rollout of the vaccine. But not only that, he must also speak to us about how then are we going to fund what the president has referred to, the Minister of Higher Education, that as a country we need to ensure that we have our own local vaccines.
What about the public sector wage bill? I mean, it's taking up 35%, of the fiscus. Where do you stand on that? It's locked in court. You heard the SAFTU protesters outside trying to approach Parliament. What can be done? I mean, those increases are frozen, and we're a bloated public service.
First and foremost, for us, it's a question of all the parties that are participating in the bargaining council standing firm on the decision that they make in that platform. That's the first point for us. But secondly, for us really is the issue of economic reconstruction and recovery plan. That for us is quite critical, because we feel as the study group that we cannot maintain the status quo and expect different economic results. Issues of unemployment, issues of poverty, issues of inequality are quite important. Of course, we must applaud the minister, and we want to check also what he will do to improvise on the issue of the 350 grant and the funds that have been pushed into the companies that are suffering, especially during the lockdown.
What about the basic income grant and NHI? I mean, surely those are priorities at the moment that just cannot be tackled in light of the global pandemic and the global economic crisis.
Yes, what we're saying is that in the ultimate end, we need to have a health system that works for all of us. Number two, the social programs, where you talk education, where you talk health, social grants, because let us agree that the face of poverty is feminine. And when we take care of the vulnerable groups, we then take care of the entire society. For us, really, the minister has to say something on the social grants, but what we're saying as well is that in spite of the challenges, I was saying just now that I don't envy the minister.
Actually, he's got a terrible job at the moment.
He's got a terrible job, but in spite of the challenges, we do not expect as ANC finance that he's going to take away from the ordinary people. Rather, he must step up the assistance that's given.
Very quick question for you. There's been a lot of speculation for several years now that Minister Tito Mboweni, and he's openly expressed it, is not happy in his position as finance minister, and that always makes the markets jittery. I think they call it Tito exit. Are you surprised that he's stayed the term, and do you think he's going anywhere?
That's a difficult one to respond.
That's very hard. That's why I'm asking you.
That's a difficult one to respond to. But let me tell you this. There's a difference between what the minister is doing, which for us as the ANC caucus is good for the country,
right,
and what he is perceived to be doing. Because remember, the good work that he does walking on a very tight rope, and some of the implementations that he's on are hurting some of us. So, yes, sometimes he will walk the tightrope and hurt some, but it's a journey that he has to take as a Minister of Finance. He's in a really unenviable position.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Ngxolo Abrams Ntantiso, I appreciate your time. ANC MP that sits on the Standing Committee on Finance. And as she said, the minister's got an absolutely unenviable job. I don't think this can be a pro-poor budget. I think it has to be an austerity budget. And I think that he's going to have to stick to some of the promises that he made last year, which one of them was a cut in 300 billion rand in the public servant wage.